episodes got me so fired up. Netflix, you had me fooled. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today we're talking about the last 3 episodes that were released this week of Love is Blind season 6, episodes 7, 8, and 9. Let's start with our golden couple, as I call Johnny and Amy. And they're having issues, there's trouble in paradise. They're having birth control issues because Amy, it's not on birth control and she doesn't want to be, because she says she's anemic and she doesn't want to put more like hormones in her body. She doesn't want to mess with her system. And Johnny said that from all the girls he's dated before, all of them have been on birth control. So this is new for him. Okay, Johnny, you are one of those guys that puts it all on the woman. As long as she's on birth control, I don't have to worry about anything. It's like it takes two to tango. And I'm all for us ladies being in control of our sexual lives. I think it's so odd that it's 2024 and with so many options out there, there are couples still dealing with birth control issues. I got the sense that Johnny doesn't want to wrap it up. There is the pill. If you don't want to do the pill, do the patch. If you don't want to do the patch, do the condom. If you don't want to do the condom, do the ovulation app. If you don't want to do the ovulation app, I feel like there's so many options out there. There's vasectomy, which we'll get to it in a moment. And then production asked Amy, are you being intimate with each other? And Amy was like, no, you're not having sex just because of this birth control thing? Then Amy said that she wants Johnny to get a vasectomy. I was like, wait, what? They both made it clear that they want to be parents. Why in the heck get a vasectomy? I've dated 2 guys that have vasectomies and I have a feeling they were being dramatic, but they said it hurts and it's very expensive. Vasectomies are reversible, but they're even more expensive to reverse them. I've heard that they're actually not that painful, that you can go back to work on the same afternoon. So I think the 2 guys that I dated were being quite dramatic. If they're planning on having a family, and she said in about 5 years, and Johnny wants to live a life as a frugal person. He wants to save as much money as he can. A vasectomy is about $600. I think it's between $600 and $1,000. But to reverse, it's between $5,000 and $15,000. So do you think Johnny, wanting to live a frugal life, will drop $15K to reverse a vasectomy? Even though I've always said that men out there, if you don't want to take responsibility for an oopsie baby, get a vasectomy. And then there's the whole like men's birth control pill that they came out with, the birth control pill for men. And they did a research, and it was like 1 out of 10 men that were willing to take that pill. What do I always say? The most important things to talk in the pods, it's sex, religion, finances, and maybe politics. I heard that they do dates for 6 hours straight with the same person. So Love is Blind, it's dating on steroids. And speaking of finances, it seems like they're not on the same page either, because he said that he wants to retire early by the time he's 50. He wants to come back here, and there. And she's the type of person that likes to live in the moment. She wants to spend money and enjoy life. And I've had that issue in the past because I've always been worried about the future. So for years in my life, I've worked 3 jobs. I was from job to job to job, never had a day off. And I just wanted to save money for a future. And I was dating someone that he was the opposite. He was more like Amy, live in the moment. And he's like, Denise, you never know what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years. You know, you might get hit by a bus tomorrow. And what are you going to do with all that money that you saved? When I'm 60 years old, I want to be comfortable and I want to have some money saved. So finances, you have to be on the same page. And, you know, the type of life you want to live. The best part for me that we saw from Johnny and Amy is that they picked bachata as their wedding dance. I love bachata. Bachata is like my passion. I love bachata, I think even more than salsa. And salsa, it's like the love of my life. It's a very sensual dance between you and your dance partner. I was glad that they're doing open position. You hold your arms like this, because if they were in closed position, yeah, it will be very, too close for a wedding dance, especially with her dad, I think, being more on the, traditional conservative side. By the way, I loved Johnny's sisters. I love their vibe. They seem like so cool. I want to be friends with them. Let's talk about Kennethy and Brittany. First of all, Kenneth, get off your phone. I saw a lot of scrolling, not a lot of typing, and I get when they go back to the real world and they have to, catch up with work, because once you're away from work for, what is it, like 2 months that they're away, there's a lot catching up to do. I get that. But his behavior was very suspicious. I have two theories about Ken. Either he is gay or he wants to be with a black woman. He said that his family and friends go really hard for him, and then that they will question Brittany and they will question why he's with a white woman. And then remember when Clay and AD were kissing, and what's his name, Ken, he was just like so turned on by them. He's like, yeah, turn me on. Yes, yes. Hashtag black love, black excellence. Ooh, yeah. I was like, it seems like he wants that. And Brittany, it's wondering why he's not affectionate towards her. He's just not that into you, girl. I'm sorry. He doesn't have the ick, that ick that we talk about. I think he's just not that into her. I did not like the fact that he gaslit her a lot on this episode. She's asking why he's not affectionate towards her, and he's like, well, you can't expect me to be on all the time. Almost like, it's her problem. It's all in her head. She says, can we talk about last night and the fact that you woke me up at 1:30 a.m. when I had to get up at 5:30 a.m. I will be in jail right now. If somebody woke me up at 1:30 in the morning, turn all the lights on when I have to be up at 5 a.m., I will murder someone. By the way, why was he out until 1:30 a.m.? What's up with this man on Love is Blind thinking that they can leave home and come back at, we're gonna get to Jeremy. Kenneth said that he went to get his hair twisted. I was like, okay, so you went to a salon until 1:30 a.m.? But no, he said after getting the hair done, he went to meet up with his mentor until 1:30 a.m. Who are you talking to? Show me an alibi, show me receipts. He finally breaks up with her. And she's such a beautiful crier, isn't she? There's the ugly criers of the world, like Kim Kardashian. And then Brittany is such a beautiful crier. But the way he did it was so cold. And I was like, man, I was rooting for you guys. I think from the moment they got back to that apartment and they started living together, he knew he was going to break up with her. He had his buddy on speed dial. He didn't even pack his stuff when they came back from the DR. Because remember, she was like, I'm packing everything. She's like, do you want the left side or the right side? And he's like, He didn't even unpack. Let's talk about Clay and AD. Oh, yeah, they need to break up ASAP. Clay carries a lot of baggage, a lot of parental baggage, because his dad was a big cheater. He actually took Clay on trips to go see the mistress. What did I say on my last video? That Clay needs therapy. He needs to deal with his past demons before he gets married, because you can tell he's not even assured himself. He keeps telling AD, I don't want to let you down, I don't want to let you down. He talks about the cheating. He doesn't want it to happen to them. I think they could still date maybe, but taking the leap to get married, too soon for Clay. Funny moment between the two of them is when they're having lunch in the DR, and he's so into that soup, man. When he started clearing the plates on the table and stacking them up and organizing them to make it easier on the waiter, I was like, my man, yes, Clay, because I do that too. When I'm in a restaurant and I'm like, we're done with the meal, I start stacking up the plates and the glasses and organizing everything, so it makes it easier for the waiter to like just get the plates all at once. And it comes from years of working in a restaurant. A friend of mine one day said, when I was like stacking up the plates, he was like, do you work here? Should I tip you? Can we talk about the fact that Clay, he's got potential. He owns his house. He's got a vision board. He's got silk pillowcases. Good for him. Moving on to Chelsea and Jimmy. And when the friends are talking to Jimmy, Chelsea said, tell them who people think I look like. Carrie Underwood? I want to know what airline Chelsea works for, because the passengers are being overserved. They are getting too many mimosas and Bloody Marys to think that Chelsea looks like Megan Fox or Carrie Underwood. Chelsea thinks that Jimmy, it's not showing her enough love or giving her enough attention. And she tells him that she thinks it's because he saw Jessica's picture. It didn't help when he said that Jessica looks like a Kardashian. Why would you tell your fiance that? Your fiance that has already plenty of insecurities of her own, you're going to tell her that the girl that you were in between her, Chelsea, looks like a Kardashian? Chelsea comes off so very needy to the point that's exhausting. If I'm exhausted, imagine Jimmy. It's going to push him away. Chelsea's another one that could benefit from therapy to work out her insecurities and maybe build emotional maturity. Oh, I want to address something since Jessica came up, that she got a lot of backlash on the internet because she's a mom of a 10-year-old. She might be 11 years old now, Autumn, and people are like, why are you going on the show potentially getting proposed to and marry someone that your daughter is never going to meet or have a relationship? Because, you know, a lot of people with kids, they have the 6-month rule, they have the year rule, that they wait until their relationship is serious, until they date someone for a year to introduce that person to their kids. There are a lot of examples of people with kids that went on Love is Blind. So what, people with kids like can't sign up for the show? I don't believe in that. Like the Brazilian version, I think the latest one, Jarbas and Bianca, beautiful family. He has a little girl, she has a little boy. They're close in age. They're like a blended family. It was beautiful. They got married. Unfortunately, they just broke up like recently. After, like, you know, you're done with the pods and you get proposed, you go live together. So that's your chance to introduce the kids to your future spouse. Because if you're that serious when you go on the show to saying yes when someone proposed, then you're serious enough to introduce your kids to that person. There was someone else in the Brazilian cast that they're still together. It's Menandro and Maria Carolina. He has a little girl, and the little girl and Maria, they're thick as thieves. They're so close. They're still together. Going back to Jimmy and Chelsea, this dude just keep digging. He calls her clinging. I was just like on the couch, let the floodgates begin, because she's already a crier. When he called her clinging, oh, that's so rude. That's so effing rude. And he's not done. No, he's not. He said, and speaking of sex, you're the one that wanted last night. I need a breather from that. The fact that that conversation didn't get violent, like, I'm in awe. Jeremy and Laura, are you ready? Pause this video. Go grab your snack. Go grab a drink. Sit down. It's the next day after being Dip Gate, and Jeremy's apologizing to Laura about that. And I was like, why are you apologizing? Who started the joke? She did. She didn't apologize, not once. He also apologizes for giving her the silent treatment the night before and sleeping on the couch. I'm like, good for you, Jeremy. I like you. I really like you. You know, you're taking responsibility and accountability. I'm on your side. Also, Jeremy, he walks the walk. He has his house. He's a young entrepreneur, and not one of those like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur and you don't even have a business. No, he started his own business when he was like really young. His house is spotless. It's so clean and organized. Like Laura said, it almost looks staged. They have this banter between them that it might get sour. Even her mom said about their interaction, she said, you two speak harshly to each other. And I was thinking the same thing. One day a joke won't land and someone's feelings, it's going to get hurt, or someone's going to take that little banter too personally and things won't end well. Laura meets with Jessica and shows Jessica on her phone, Laura's phone, a DM that Sarah and, remember, Jeremy was between Sarah and Laura. He picked Laura. So Sarah DM'd him saying, like, it was great meeting you. I had a wonderful time. And then Laura was like, good, polite, nice. And then at the end, she says, if your thoughts go in, I'm paraphrasing, but if your thoughts go in another way, I would love to meet in person. And Jeremy double tapped it, did the little heart. Ay, Jeremy, you should have just either ignored the message or politely reply, hey, me and Laura are really happy. I appreciate your message, but I don't think it's appropriate. I'm happy with Laura. And I also think when Jessica asked Laura, how do you know about this DM? And she's like, I took a picture of his phone. And I was like, oh, you were snooping, Laura? But no. And it made me like Jeremy even more. He showed her the DM because he said, I wanted to build trust with her. And I wanted to show her that I got nothing to hide. Fast forward, and this is probably like the last scene of the last episode, episode 9. There's Jeremy sitting on the couch, sunglasses on, cap, inside the house. Laura comes in and is dead silence. And I was like, oh no, they had a fight off camera. Jeremy left the house at 10:45. He said he was going to a karaoke bar with the boys. And then one of the boys sent him a message saying, Sarah and it's here. We just wanted to give you the heads up to see if you wanted to come or not. He went and he said he owed her a conversation. The problem is that Jeremy came home at 5 a.m. The bars closed at 2. What were you doing between 2 and 5? And this is all like Laura. Laura is just like, dun, 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 dun. She was like that, was it Salt Lake? One of the Housewives franchise. It went viral, but she went, I got receipts, I got screenshots, I got emails, I got photos, I got it all. When Jeremy said that he owed her a conversation, I was like, okay, maybe he needs closure. But what other closure do you need? After you broke up with her in the pods, you picked me, Laura, you proposed to me. How much closure do you need? And if you do need closure, you get that closure in broad daylight at a coffee shop while I wait outside. If I'm going to the grocery store, going for a walk, and after you're done, we meet up. Not at 2 a.m., 5 a.m. at a bar, in the parking lot of a bar. She said that you weren't at Lost and Found. Lost and Found is the name of the bar. You weren't in Lost and Found. Where were you? And he's like, yeah, I was in the parking lot of Lost and Found. He kept doubling down. He said, in my defense, and to make you feel secure, I share my location with you. And she went off. She's like, to make me feel secure? To make me feel secure, I need you to come home at a decent hour and not at 5 a.m. after hanging out with the other girl that you were torn in between. And then she said, you think that I'm stupid enough that I wouldn't check your location at 3 a.m.? You were not at South End. You were north of Uptown, and that's where Sarah lives. I was like, oh no, Jeremy, you got busted. Are men that stupid? And I don't want to, paint all men out there with the same brush. But Jeremy, if you're going to share your location, you're going to tell me that between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., all you and Sarah did was talk in the car. Sharing the location doesn't even make sense to me because for all I know, you could be having sex with her in the car. I don't even like Laura. You guys know from my last video, even from this video where I said she didn't apologize for the being dip thing, like she's not the nicest person, but I totally back her on this. And Jeremy, man, I was rooting for you. Like I had your back. I was full of compliments towards you. But you know the irony of it all is that when Laura and Jessica were, at the bar talking, they're catching up, Laura encouraged Jessica to meet up with Jimmy, knowing that Jimmy is engaged to Chelsea. Isn't karma a bitch? These were my thoughts on episodes 7, 8, and 9. Can't wait till next week. Let me know in the comments down below. Between Kenneth and Jimmy, who's the biggest disappointment? Because both of them really dropped the ball. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I got a thanks button now. If you want to help me out, that'd be great. Make sure you subscribe and also hit the little bell. And I'll see you next time.